Hi there guys, Ken here, your thrifty apprentice. In this video, I am going to be testing the Master's Touch Fine Art Studio 48 count color pencil set. This is a couple of field tests into using them. These are the same pencils that we used to do the thread spool illustration that went up about a week and a half ago, if you guys remember. So we're going to be using those pencils again. This is actually my very first time ever doing a coloring book page on camera on the channel. I don't typically color in coloring books, but I did figure that this would be a wonderful test to start introducing into the color pencils other than the normal test that I do, because I understand that there are a lot of color book enthusiasts and artists that are more prevalent with a lot of voices nowadays, and that a lot of the colored pencil and watercolor pencil and pastel products are being geared towards coloring book artists. So I figured, you know, keeping up with the times, I would introduce a coloring book field test into my colored pencil testing when I'm testing for products. So that's sort of the backstory behind why you see a coloring book page for the first time on the channel. So we're just going to jump into a really quick like coloring illustration demo where I'm going to do the trees and the cloud. And you know, I'll save some of the rest of the coloring book page for some other time, but just kind of wanted to get a preliminary feel for how the pencils would work in a coloring book setting, as far as layering, blending, just things of that nature. So yeah, we're going to jump into doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let me start off by saying, first and foremost, guys, I am no coloring book expert by any means. As I've said, I'm just incorporating coloring books into the testing phase of my colored pencil reviews in order to give a little bit robust all-around review. So I chose this coloring page inside a coloring book that was purchased for me. This is a easy art coloring book, if I'm not mistaken, but I thought the page was pretty cool, so this is what I'm coloring. Of course, you guys know I am testing the Master's Touch Fine Art Studio 48 count of colored pencils here. Of course, we've used them before on the channel, so this is not like an introduction or anything, just a test on coloring page. Now, I was not sure how this was going to go. So, you know, there are much better coloring book artists out there to follow. This is just me really testing the layerability, the blendability of these pencils, the amount of coverage I can get out of them over a certain area, the way they would layer, whether or not they would be transparent enough for me to see the previous layers through the additional layers, you know, so just really going at it, seeing what the pencils had to offer. Now, these pencils do have color names, but I will not even fib to you and tell you that I know what they are doing this voiceover. So what I will tell you is that I started with a lighter yellowish green shade to do the base for the trees. I went back in with a more earthy, more medium green tone. Afterwards, what you see me doing here is using a darker shade of a green tone to go in and lay down my shadow colors and to kind of start to separate the different portions of that tree. I also used it to color the underside of the tree where the leaves would be casting shadow right above where the leaves and the bark meet. See, so then what you see me doing here is using white to kind of blend those pencils. I'm going back in with a yellow pencil in order to blend those colors all down really well. Get them in to make them look vibrant and pretty. Under the canopy of the tree, I took a black pencil and shaded where it was closest to the cut line. And then I went back in with that same dark green that I did the base layer for the shadow with and covered the black to give me a darker shade of green in those different areas. Doing the same thing to the tree. that is on the opposite side, going in with those different shades of green, a more yellow green, a little more earthy mid-tone green, then a darker green. I blend all those together with white, and then I blend further with a yellow just to add in those spring colors that I kind of had in mind as I started to color this page. This was actually really fun. It really, really was. Now, again, I'm no expert at all. This was just me kind of getting into it, getting a feel for it, seeing how it would work out. The truth of the matter is, as far as adding the value, shadows, and highlights, it's almost the same as if I was using watercolor pencils or paint. Tackling the composition is pretty much the same in that aspect. Now, the color book paper, of course, is new to me. It's a different beast. It took a minute to really just get a feel for working with it, but I think it ended up turning out okay. Now, of course, I'm only doing the trees and the sky in this particular video. As anybody who does coloring books know, it takes a long time. It takes a long time, guys. It does. This video is sped up like 2 to 3 times, so you're getting a condensed video. I think this entire video may be 13, 14 minutes long, but I promise you, it was so much more time coloring this in, so much more. And I just did not want to put you guys through watching me color that entire thing, especially being my first time, which is why the demo is sped up. But hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. Now for the bark, I used yellow ochre for the base. I went back in with more like a Van Dyke brown to add in the shadow. I covered all of that with a burnt sienna, and then I'm going back in to blend the in with a yellow ochre. And I'm doing the exact same thing to the adjacent tree. Now, here we've jumped into doing the sky. I'm going to be honest. This is a Master's Touch Fine Art Studio watercolor pencil that I'm using in order to lay down the base layer for the sky. Here was my thought and reasoning behind that. That was a really large surface area I had already been coloring such a long time. And I just wanted to kind of get down a base layer that I knew I could get in really well. That would be a matching color. So I figured, why not use a watercolor pencil from a set by the same company that had the exact same color name, because their watercolor pencils and their color pencil set have the exact names to make it easy to match them across the different sets, which is a really wonderful thing, especially coming from a craft brand. Now, I did a little erasing here and there. The pencils did lift up pretty well. Not just the watercolor pencil, but the color pencil as well lifted up with erasing. And now I'm laying in just a darker tone, more like an ultramarine tone, because of course with any sky you would have darker blue at the top, and it will progressively get lighter as it moves towards the bottom. After I got the base layer laid in, I took a water brush, a brush with water on it. I think that is definitely a creative expression brush. It may be like a number 6 round synthetic, which is what I typically use with my watercolor pencils. And I just went in and blended that pigment out across the sky to get that base layer. And I just think it made that process so much quicker. And it did not take away from any of the testing that I was doing for the actual color pencils, because after the watercolor pencil layer dry, I did go back in with the color pencils in order to add more saturation to the sky and to blend everything out, make sure that everything was harmonious and looked the same. And the advantage to all of that, with the pencils being the same across both lines or both sets of pencils, made that process really, really easy. Now you see me using this technique all the time with watercolor pencils. I'm just using a wet brush to actually pull that pigment from the lid of the pencil and just go in and add a little bit more color. It's all about enhancing. Now, I will be working on this page with some other sets, or maybe in some other videos until I eventually get it completed. Now, I didn't do any highlighting in this coloring video. Again, I got to a point where I was just like, okay, I've recorded enough for this video. We will definitely revisit this color book page on another occasion, possibly with even another color pencil set. because I don't feel like I really need to color an entire page to get a feel for how they work in a coloring book on coloring book paper. But if I need to, I will. And if it comes up that these pencils haven't been tested by the time it rolls around for me to work in this coloring book again, I'm sorry, not tested, but hadn't been reviewed by the time, then, you know, I'll be finishing up some more of this page with this pencil set. But we'll have to wait to see on that. And again, I'm still just pulling that color from the lid of that watercolor pencil till I got the saturation that I wanted, blending back and forth. And then finally, I'm going in with the color pencils to add saturation. I'm going to do it with the lighter blue. And then I'm going to go back in with the darker blue. And both of them were the same names from the ones that I used for the base layer in watercolor pencils. So there you have it, guys. We are wrapping up this whole little coloring book page experience for now. I still have, like, of course, the cityscape on the horizon to do, and then the foreground. I'm not sure if I'll be doing that on camera with this pencil set, with another pencil set that I happen to be testing, coming back around, but I don't know. Just, you know, stay tuned in the future. We will be doing maybe another coloring book page here or there, with testing pencils on camera, you know, just to kind of incorporate that into the color pencil work that we do, just to, you know, show a little homage to my coloring book artists friends that are out there. We are all inclusive here in the Thrifty Apprentice Art Studio, and color pencils are part of what we do. So yeah, there you have it. Hopefully you guys saw something in this video that you like. If you did, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Share the video. Sharing is caring. Maybe someone else out there would like to see the little demo painting or whatever. Subscribe, please. It'll help the channel grow, and you can also hit the notification bell so you'll know when new content is coming out. Hit us up on all of the social media sites. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The video description will have a link for the Thrifty Apprentice sponsored Facebook group, Paints, Pencils, Pastels, and Markers, where we do all things artsy and crafty, and artists of all levels are welcome. The video description will also have links for other things like the Etsy shop, most recommended products for great quality products that are budget friendly. And remember, as I tell you guys at the end of every single video, just keep painting and crafting.